We learned that Shane McMahon was not at the Hall of Fame for Triple H. That's weird, right? Because they don't get along. Because Shane McMahon, who does Shane McMahon always sort of remind us of, right? He sort of reminds us of Linda, right? Linda McMahon and Shane McMahon kind of remind us of each other. Shane McMahon is desperate for the approval of his father, and he cherishes every little moment with his father. And that's why we've seen Shane McMahon, who is a sweetheart of a guy. But much like Linda, you're always like, how could this woman be with Vince McMahon? Well, Shane McMahon is that way with his father now. And I think Linda, to an extent, would be as well. But I think Stephanie and Triple H are like, F that. Stephanie and Triple H are mad at Vince for so many different things. One of the reasons why Stephanie McMahon and Triple H are mad at Vince McMahon is, number one, for really giving up the company, to be honest. I don't think that they were ever happy with that. I think Vince and Stephanie McMahon thought that the company was going to be left to them. And much like them, Shane McMahon had once thought that the company was going to be left to him. However, and Shane got extremely butthurt about that. And, but why is he forgiven his dad and with his dad? And I think that Vince McMahon has explained to Shane in some way that, Shane, it's not that you lost it. It's the company got too big for anybody. It wasn't that you couldn't buy it. The company just got that big that it was impossible for you to buy it. It was impossible for Triple H to buy it or Stephanie. And I think once Shane McMahon saw that, oh, damn, I thought that I was being screwed and my father was giving away the company to Triple H and Stephanie. I think he thought that. And then Vince said, no, see, look, they didn't get it either because the company is just became too big and too public for anybody to just, take over. So it's not about you. I love you, son. And so Shane and Vince are still cool. And Shane sees this opportunity with everybody hating Vince, his time to get in with his dad and spend that time with his father, because so many other people are distancing themselves. They're dicking themselves. No, they're distancing themselves from Vince McMahon, that Shane McMahon finally can cozy up and get close to his father. You know what I mean? And how can you blame him? And look at Stephanie and Triple H. They were once very happy. Now they're not because of their father. Their father's reputation and image has hurt them slightly. I don't think as much, really, that much. But I think at the time they thought it did. That's a big reason why Stephanie stepped away. I don't think Triple H and Stephanie are happy with the decisions their father made for the company because it leaves them out. It leaves them vulnerable. It leaves Triple H vulnerable to be taken out and to be kind of embarrassed or screwed over, to be honest. And Stephanie McMahon now is seemingly happy or okay with her role right now, which is like sort of this host and glorified ambassador to the company. She's going around doing these TV shows like she's a reporter or a movie maker, and that's sort of her glorified role, is to be a spokesperson for WWE. And listen, I believe that no matter what people say, if The Rock were suddenly to come in and say, this is mine now, we'll see you later, Triple H, I don't think The Rock would ever fully leave them completely out. Do you know what I mean? But much the same way that Triple H treats Bret Hart and the way Bret Hart feels about Triple H, where Bret Hart feels like, well, I'm invited to the Hall of Fame and I'm invited to be here, but I kind of feel like I'm insulted and I'm just some little schlub. So I'm here, but nobody really cares and it's embarrassing. That's why Bret Hart is like, yeah, I'm here, but fuck it. That sort of thing. Triple H, at some point, may feel that way. If Triple H loses his position or power, what are they going to have Triple H as a glorified something? And Triple H is going to come in and be like, yeah, I'm Triple H, great, love you all, but really he has no more power. The Triple H has already lost a ton of his power, So you've got this just unbelievable struggle of craziness in the WWE right now. The Rock backed out of WrestleMania. in a weird passive-aggressive way. Something stinks. Something smells. Something is foul about this. You're telling me that The Rock backed out of WrestleMania. The Rock knows it'd be good for The Rock to be at WrestleMania. Triple H knows it'd be good for The Rock to be at WrestleMania. But yet The Rock said, you know what? They asked me to come in for ticket sales. I think Triple H is mad about it, right? Amari Emanuel or whatever. Hey, come on in, Rock. We need you for ticket sales. So he does. I almost think that maybe Triple H was insulted by that. And then somebody got irritated with The Rock being there. And so then The Rock said, well, fine, you know what? The Rock's out. You guys do it. Good luck. And then now it's getting negative feedback. Suddenly The Rock jumps out to say, man, that's not the way I would have done it. Yeah, well, man, I was here if they wanted me, but I decided to back out and let them do it. The Rock literally either buried the WWE other people, buried Triple H, passively aggressively walked away like, you do it. See what happens. Or the WWE just jerked you all off. It's come to my attention that this shirt was on sale at WrestleMania. Did you know this? I found this out through John sent me a 10-second clip of Russo breaking this down. And I went, yep, I heard about that, but I didn't really think much of it. But now that we think about all these other things, finally The Rock has come back to Vegas. Why the fuck would this shirt be sold if he wasn't going to be there? And I know you could sell finally The Rock has come back to Boston, finally The Rock has come back to every town and just sell it anyway even if he's not there. I understand that. But this is fucking crazy. So the Rock wasn't there. So either The Rock was supposed to be there and he backed out and screwed them and they sold the shirt anyway. They've been selling it for a year before WrestleMania. So, again, that could break this argument. But also, or they just think, let's just sell it. They're stupid. So either the WWE is like, hey, you're morons and you'll buy this, you stupid moron people. Or The Rock was supposed to be there and he backed out. Now, did The Rock leave them hanging? Did he back out? Did he just say, I think he personally said, I'm all set, guys. I'm out of it. A passive-aggressive move. I think that's what it was. He set up Triple H. How about going back to the point where, by the way, I see your stuff in the chat. Guys, if you're in the chat, hit that like button right now. If you want to donate, Streamlabs is pinned to the top of the chat right now. Use that to donate or become a member, super chat, whatever. I'm going to read your donations in just a minute. But yes, I would like to know, back when the Cody Rhodes story started, Cody Rhodes, Triple H was in the back and he said that The Rock, he doesn't answer to The Rock and that he was in charge. And Triple H kind of took shots at The Rock and we were all like, oh shit, they're going to do the angle of The Rock and The Rock and Triple H and there's a power struggle in WWE. Remember that? We were all like, oh, it's going to be an angle. It never was an angle. It never was an angle. In fact, Triple H never mentioned The Rock again. In fact, you want to know something really wild? Not only did Triple H never mention The Rock again, it's almost like they're purposely avoiding each other and then also being passive-aggressive and weird. And now The Rock doesn't come to WrestleMania, but there's a T-shirt. He was supposed to be there. Why didn't Triple H mention The Rock at WrestleMania? Triple H was forced to kind of mention Vince, but he barely said anything. He just said, he's my kid's grandfather. He's my blah, blah, blah. But Triple H and Stephanie aren't really getting along with Vince McMahon too well. And they're really not getting along with Shane McMahon, who was not at the Hall of Fame for Triple H. Vince McMahon wasn't at the Hall of Fame. I don't think he was invited, probably. And therefore, Shane McMahon did not come to the Hall of Fame. I wouldn't be surprised if Shane McMahon said, I'll be there if Vince is there. But if Vince isn't there, I'm not there. Shane McMahon could have done that too. So you get Shane McMahon and Vince McMahon are at odds with Triple H and Stephanie. And you got The Rock, who seemingly is at odds with Triple H and Stephanie. What is going on? What side are with Vince? Are any sides with Vince McMahon, or are they completely out on Vince McMahon? That's another great question. Why would Triple H not mention The Rock in his 1 hour, 1 billion hour speech, Hall of Fame speech? Why wouldn't Triple H mention The Rock at the Hall of Fame? Am I crazy? Is that not bizarre to mention, like, the matches I had with me and Rock and blah, blah, blah? None of that. I don't think there was any mention. If there was, I mean, let me know. Let me know. Please tell me and fill me in, because it was a long speech. Maybe I'm misremembering. There's so much going on and so much insanity that it's hard to keep up with all this shit. I got to be honest. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on here, and a lot of